What can people do generally to improve their mental health? I think, look, there's not one size that fits all, but one framework that I am currently using that I think is quite helpful is called the 5 Steps to Wellbeing, which you can find on the NHS website or the Mind charity website. So if I can remember them, the 5 steps are, first, notice. So a lot of people who are struggling with their mental health, they're caught up in worrying about the future or thinking about losses that have happened to them in the past. And so I suppose notice as an idea is about being in the present. It's about, sitting on a bench looking at the trees. It's about mindfulness. It's about being in the moment. So notice, it's a useful, I think, idea. Secondly, exercise. We all need to exercise. I mean, I like to swim, but often people who are having mental health problems, they don't exercise. They get stuck at home and they don't feel better for it. Thirdly, learn. So this idea, I think, is that we can get stuck just in a rut doing the same thing, and it makes us feel better if we're actually learning something new. So that's another area that we can think about. Fourthly, connect. So our friendships, our relationships, the connections we have with other people, whether it's at work or outside, are vital to our mental health. And often when people are unwell, they get very disconnected. They get stuck at home. So that's an area we can all work on. And then finally, I like this idea. They have this idea of give, which you might think, well, what's that doing there? Well, but I think when people are struggling in their mental health, it often become very focused inside. And anything that can take you out of yourself, that can make you other focused. Some people might volunteer, some people might, look after a pet or have a relationship that they're investing in. But something that is other focused, that is about giving, is a good thing.
One can come for therapy, but there's far more than just therapy. You've got a whole person and you've got a whole lot of needs, as we've discussed in therapy, that need to be met. So I would suggest that sleep is important. Eating is important, being in nature is important, and connecting to people and having authentic, meaningful relationships. There's also, all of us need a sense of purpose and contributing to the world in a way that is meaningful. So looking after those relationships and working at something is part of the whole of looking after yourself.
One of the things is remembering actually that our minds, our brains are connected to our body. So actually making sure that we keep our body going, making sure that we keep our body moving, making sure that we give it the right fuel, that we sleep, that we take the rest that we need. And those are the bread and butter basics of minding our body as such. From a mental health angle, one of the other things I would say is check in with yourself. What's happening? So if you're feeling triggered by something, what's that about? What's the emotion that's coming up for you? What's it making you want to do? Okay, what kind of response is it giving? Sort of checking in with yourself. In addition to that, I would also say get out, see people. One of the determinants of lower mental health for us is isolation, is loneliness. So we tend to say get out, meet people. Go do a task that you think you might enjoy, or test out the waters, discover new bits about yourself. One of the other things that we can do for our mental health is get a thermostat of what's happening for us at the time. I'm feeling a certain emotion. What is that emotion? What do I do in response to that emotion? Or what do I not do? Sometimes it's actually what I don't do in response to that. So if I feel low, what do I tend to do? Sometimes I might go under the covers. I might shy away from people. I might avoid things. And what we'd say is actually sometimes do the opposite thing, right? Get out, meet people, try a new activity, even though you don't feel like it. Because who feels like going to the gym when you feel low? But actually, how do you feel after that? That's the clue that we're looking for there. And if it feels too much, because sometimes it feels too much to do on our own, come seek us. We'll help guide you through it.
What if I'm looking towards improve my mental health and mental well-being? The first thing to stress is that the medical model, the model which we provide within healthcare services, is not the only model for you. There's a lot of other options available as well. For some people, it comes from their ethical principles, some comes from their spiritual beliefs. So there are other frameworks which can be useful for you. So I like to stress that the medical model is not required for everybody. It may be something which you feel more comfortable with, and that's understandable as well. I think if we think about it, and a lot of this was driven from our experience during COVID, we know that things like networks, about relationships, can be very important in maintaining people's mental well-being. We know that talking to people can be useful as well. However, we also are mindful that talking to friends and family can often have different interactions, which could be challenging. And sometimes having somebody who is outside of that network can be helpful in framing the challenges which you may face or may not be facing.